All right, don't forget, we have an extended Q&A for this screening. So please welcome to the stage Rebecca Zlotowski, Sabri Louatah, Dali Benssalah, and Sofiane Zermani.
Hello. Hop. Hi. Ha. Oh. Woo. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right.
It's the very, very first screening ever. Thank you very much. Thank you for staying.
I wanted to start with a question for Rebecca and Sabri. What made television the right medium for the adaptation of this novel?
Well, I guess the book was already kind of. I was very angry when people told me that, but the book was kind of very cinematographic. Like it was visual. It had short scenes, lots of action, and I hate books when they're a bore, and so I absolutely wanted it to be thrilling. So it was kind of. I think it was and I also love television, and I think novelists nowadays they are very often impressed by television, by the storytelling, and I guess that was the right media. And the story was too sprawling to be containable in a movie, in a feature movie. So I think it was really the way to go.
In terms of making it cinematic, Rebecca, how did you become involved?
By mistake, because actually, like the real reason is that the producer Marco Cherki, that is here like today with us, just thought of
with Joey
Faré and Canal Plus that they were developing it actually for a long time. And since we're in France, the idea to have auteur-réalisateur, I mean, like we have a strong tradition of auteur-réalisateur, and at a certain point he really wanted to have a director attached to the project. And against all habits, because it was really not the genre of movies that I was doing before, he offered me the pilot, and I read it, and it was just shocking to me. And everything, I was pleased in everything, especially by the idea to make this casting.
I wonder too, working in television, you have to make some decisions in terms of what you show, when you show it, and what you hold on for later, I'm guessing. How do you make those decisions as the creators?
The idea of the cliff.
Yeah. This is complicated because we wanted a series that would be thrilling and exciting, but there's also the danger of being too much into the robotic aspect of it. Like it's like sometimes it's a little lifeless when you create a suspense that is too perfect. So I think we needed to throw in some. It's all a matter of a pace, of course, of rhythm. What we wanted is to have characters that we could develop, because this is the privilege that we have in television. We have like 6 hours or 6 times 52 minutes. So we have a lot of time to see the characters change their minds, go through a lot of things. We don't need to characterize them in a single very efficient scene that can seem a little stiff at times. I think then there's also the montage, how do you say, mix, editing, the editing part of it that of course was I was not responsible for anything about that, but yeah, I think it was.
When it's good, it's him, and when it's bad, it's me. So I was like that.
I never said it quite
nice
like
couple.
that, but that's a very good way to summarize it.
Also, the idea that, you saw the first episode, we know since day one who did it. So the problem was how you can catch, the audience, how you can have the thrill. It's like a Colombo. I don't know if you had, Inspector Colombo. There's like such a good TV show for me. You know exactly for first minute, and then you have to catch the audience and to be interesting and worth seeing it. And I think that Sabri's material was a good enough, like deep enough to be like super interesting on a political level, like on different layers. And I hope that you got that.
You're working with some amazing actors and an amazing ensemble cast, and I think one thing that's also important about a first episode or even a second episode is how you really introduce these characters from the get-go and how you set them up. And I don't think there's any better introduction to a character that I have seen in a long time than Sofiane. Your introduction is fantastic. It's beautiful, and. And the score, the editing, the framing, that it really sets him up in a way as a villain. However, I will say, when preparing to play him, did you see him as a villain or do you see him as much more complex?
Je vais m'aider de monsieur. Ouais. Alors, oui, je l'ai vu comme un parfait. I'm sorry for my English. We speak in French. It's better for me.
You're shy. Your
I've
English
never
is
seen
good.
you shy. The guy.
What? He's the most famous rapper in France. It's the first time I
But
see him. Wow, this is something.
Oui, je l'ai vu comme un méchant et en même temps en essayant de l'humaniser au maximum. J'ai eu une préparation de rôle pas difficile, mais investie. J'ai perdu une quinzaine de kilos. Enfin, je me suis préparé physiquement pour ce rôle et effectivement, il a s'agi d'aller à contre-emploi de mon métier habituel, c'est-à-dire que j'ai dû parler doucement, faire des phrases courtes, avoir une espèce d'intention dans la voix que je n'ai pas forcément l'habitude d'avoir. Donc oui, je l'ai vu comme un vrai méchant. Et en même temps, au fur et à mesure du tournage, on lui a ajouté des notes humanisantes. Voilà, un peu. Voilà ce que je peux dire.
Yes, he did see him as an evil character, but what he wanted to do was to humanize him. This was such a huge jump, if you like, from his everyday career. And he trained very, very seriously. Amongst other things, he lost 15 kilos.
I gained 5.
He learned how to speak in a low voice, which he wouldn't have done in his other career. And he learned also how to speak in short sentences, again, as opposed to who he is. And yes, it is an evil character, but the idea was to try and bring out the more human side of him.
Because in my life, Sofiane Zermani speak like that, and and Nazir speak like that,
Dali, a question for you. Perfectly timed question. You're really the access point to this story, and you balance two different worlds. You balance the family and the politics of the series, and you need both of those for this show to be really successful, which it is. Did you kind of prepare for acting in those different spaces, and if so, how?
Yes, of course, because Fouad left his family in the Saint-Etienne, and he found another family. You saw the Chaouch, but finally the business of cinema, TV show in France is also his family. The Chaouch came after because his fiancée is with Jasmine for maybe a few years, and yeah, I had to think about the before the script. The reason why he left his family. I worked it with Rebecca, of course, and with the cast director, Judy Chalier. And yeah, Fouad has two family, but he did a choice. He did a choice to go to the family of I want to be famous, I want to be an actor. I think he wants more to be famous than to be an actor. He left his family to be an actor, of course, yeah, but he wanted to be famous and to find love from an audience. The love he lost with his actual family, which didn't understand his choice. Make sense? Yeah.
Sabri, it's about 7 years since the novel first came out. A lot has happened during that time, socially and politically in France. Is there anything specific that you feel influenced the way the story was told?
Yes, it became much darker after the terror attacks in France. It was actually very hard for me to finish. I wanted to. This is my first novel and my first series, and I was like a nobody. I'm still kind of a nobody, but I mean, I was really
Not anymore.
No. Well, yeah. Anyway, so it was. At the Thank you. That's fine. I'm okay. See, it is too much now. No, during the terror attacks, I was finishing volume 4, and it took me, and I couldn't finish it because, of course, it deals with terrorism, but not really. It's not like Islamic terror, which is not. I don't know of any Islamic terrorist, and I'm not interested in the subject. And I think terror now these days we're seeing a lot of white supremacist terrorists, especially in the United States. Or in New Zealand, or in the entire world, we see a very violent streak of white terror, we could call it. And
Don't spoil the end of the episodes.
Yeah. I'm not saying anything, but actually, you need to watch the next 4 episodes, and maybe if you want, you can even buy the books. They're available in it. No, I'm just saying they're like available. They're available in English. There was an English translation, a very good one that I kind of worked on anyway. So the political the political turmoil that we were going through in France made it very hard to finish the novels. But in a way, it made also the story more relevant and more urgent. In a way, like we needed to tell the story because in France there was I'm not gonna lie, there was a moment when being an Arab in France, just walking in the streets, going in the subway, it was very hard. People were giving you hard looks, glances. People were, trying to imagining things about you, and every day it was like an outpouring of racism, like on TV. Women who wear headscarves in France, they're like persecuted on a daily basis. So being an Arab, being a Muslim in France has become something like making a series telling the story of these people and showing that it's complicated, that it's ambivalent, that you have two sides, that you have in a single we always talk about it with Sofiane. In our families, you always have someone like Rabia. You have always someone who thinks, well, if they like headscarves so much, why don't they move to Saudi Arabia? We all have in our families someone like that. We don't need white people on television, pundits to just shout it in a racist way. So there was the series is really it was politically motivated, and I think I answered your question. Yeah.
I could not agree more. But a fun fact is that when you're a true artist like Sabri, there is like prophetic aspects of what you imagine for politics. And for instance, when you mentioned the fact that he wrote during like the Sarkozy era, like the former president before Emmanuel Macron, and before Hollande.
Everybody forgot him.
Everyone forgot him. I don't know why. You're so bad. You know that this is on TV, on French TV. It's going to be on French.
It's being shot. It's being filmed.
Yeah. But pourquoi pas? Why not? The thing is that, for instance, like the slogan, how do you say the slogan of the
motto?
The motto of of the campaign that you depicted. Tagline.
Slogan.
The slogan, the tagline was like, just give me one word.
Slogan.
Slogan was "Le changement, c'est maintenant," or something like very close. And when François Hollande just like run for campaign, it was exactly the same.
Yeah,
which is kind of scary. And then we wrote like during like the writing of the episodes, where like obviously we need to change that because it's like it's in the past. So we took another one.
Futuristic became passé.
Exactly, and we picked up something else. We're like, okay, let's say hope, or like of course there's like an inspiration of an Obama-ish inspiration in the artistic direction and stuff. But then while we were shooting the European elections, you had like this left wing character famous in France, Nazir, And his slogan was l'espoir. And I was like, what the fuck is happening? Do we have imagination or don't they have it?
So last question from me, so prepare your questions, audience. Rebecca, this is your first foray into episodic storytelling. What are the key differences directing television versus film for you?
The differences?
The key differences.
I did the same job to me. I mean, I think that maybe discrepancies comes when you do not shoot all the episodes. This is a miniserie. I shot all the episodes. We're talking in the beginning with the producer. They would say, this is TV, this is so different. Let us know, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, sure, I really want to know that. But then like the cross-boarding thing, for instance, is exactly the way we do when we shot films. I mean, in my industry. And I'm not the Dardenne brother or Philippe Garrel, which are French directors that shot in the chronology. They move from a place to another, then come back, which is like a kind of fetishistic way that I love when I see it, but I could not afford that. So I did exactly the same job with the actors. To me, those actors that I had the chance and the privilege to direct, comment on dit diriger? To direct, they are like movie stars to me. The material was like movie material, but then you had like the chance to put that in episodes. You had like the writing of the cliff. I definitely moved into a more like efficient writing. I don't know if anyone maybe saw one of my films. I had the privilege to show like my last film in Toronto, Planetarium, that no one understood. So I was like, I mean, maybe neither me. I had like the idea that the script could be poetic, but I noticed that you can bring poesy in with efficacy.
Definitely. So raise your hand high if you have a question, and please project. Question here.
Hi. So my question is for the character Nazir. A very, very interesting character, a very challenging character as well, and you touched a lot of delicate topics. What has been the most challenging part for you? Un caractère très délicat, très difficile à jouer, je trouve cette tête. Et quels ont été les plus gros défis pour vous?
So just to repeat the question was Sofiane's character tackled a lot of challenging subjects, and as an actor, what was the most challenging part doing that? Yeah.
Alors, je vais répondre en français, il fera la traduction. Le premier défi pour moi sur le rôle de Nazir, c'est, je pense, de combler les vides immenses qu'il peut y avoir entre la mentalité d'un Nazir et ma mentalité à moi dans ma propre vie, parce que, qu'on le veuille ou non, bah, c'est un jeune issu de l'immigration comme moi. On a au début le même profil, et finalement, lui qui a une idéologie politico-fanatique et qui a clairement qui doit cumuler une centaine de pathologies dans sa tête, ça a été ça le plus dur pour moi en fait. Ça a été de me séparer de tout ce que moi je sais de mon éducation, de mes origines, de ma religion et de tout ça, et d'aller jouer quelqu'un qui pense tout au contraire de moi, qui est si éloigné de ma pensée. Ça a été ça. Voilà, si j'avais joué un jeune qui s'appelait Vincent et qui était blanc de peau, à la limite, mais là j'aurais pu, j'en ai pas, mais j'aurais pu avoir des traits communs avec Nazir. Et ça a été de casser ces ponts entre moi et ce personnage, parce que qu'on le veuille ou non, le personnage de Nazir et Sofiane Zermani dans la vie, bah, c'est des jeunes issus de l'immigration qui ont grandi dans des quartiers populaires, et qu'on le veuille ou non, on a quand même des traits communs dans nos éducations. Et tout dépend de la manière dont on évolue, mais voilà, le plus gros défi pour moi, ça a été ça. Ça a été de jouer des convictions que je rejette dans ma propre vie. Voilà, ça a été ça.
The first and most difficult challenge for him was to, if you like, fill the gaps rather, between the character of Nazir and who he is in person, because superficially they have a lot in common. They both come from an immigrant background, but they have the superficial profile, which is very similar, if you like. But this is where any resemblance ends, because Nazir is fanatical. He becomes practically pathological. And so what he had to do as an actor is to forget about what could be similar and actually concentrate on the differences, on somebody whose political opinions are totally different than his. And essentially, that was the real challenge of sort of cutting himself back in order to project somebody who is the exact opposite of who he is.
We are almost out of time. It's we have time for one last very quick question. I see a question in the center with a red jacket behind you.
Ça va faire un trou dans la France.
Says it's gonna be
shoot a hole in the middle
heavy.
of France.
Non, ouais, moi je le pense vraiment, parce que ça soulève des débats, ça invite à des discussions, ça met le doigt sur quelque chose, c'est clair. Et nous, en plus, la manière dont on l'a vécu vraiment en équipe. Donc on a envie de défendre comment on l'a vu, comment on l'a fait, comment on l'a interprété, comment on l'a réalisé, et tous ensemble. Ça veut dire qu'on s'est retrouvés rapidement avec des équipes, avec des gens de religions différentes, d'origines différentes, et ainsi de suite. Et même si ça tournait autour d'une famille d'Algériens, de deux familles d'ailleurs, d'origine algérienne, tout ça s'est vite passé au second plan en réalité. On est juste, quand on tourne, je pense qu'on est tous en train de se dire qu'on est en train d'écrire quelque chose en fait. On est en train de mettre le doigt sur quelque chose de brûlant, dont personne ne veut s'approcher. Et le courage d'un bouquin comme celui de Sabri et le courage de Rebecca de le mettre en image derrière, c'est ça, c'est de mettre le doigt et de pousser d'ouvrir une espèce de petite boîte de Pandore, tu sais, que personne ne veut toucher depuis très longtemps, voilà. Et pourtant le timing le nécessite. Donc au final, voilà, on pense que ça va être, je parle pour moi, je pense que ça va être, on peut parler normalement, ça va être un gros bordel. Voilà ce que je pense.
It's going to hit a lot of nerves. And if you think about it, it deals with a lot of issues which are very uncomfortable for people. And they looked at themselves as a team coming from different backgrounds. But what united them was the courage, first of all, in Sabri's books, and then the courage in Rebecca's making the series. And that's why, in a sense, they are opening a Pandora's box. But that's probably the idea, because what they want is to generate a debate to make people think rather than just watch.
Well, thank you for starting the debate, and big thanks to everyone who joined us today.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you.